Hello, my friends. I am Peymon, the president of Freedom Law School, which I started in 1996. And for over 30 years, I have not paid any federal income or payroll taxes, nor filed a tax return for them, and actively been teaching other Americans to be the same and defund the DC swamp. In this presentation, you'll see why it took the IRS 13 years of investigation to finally determine that Peymon and Freedom Law School were not promoting any kind of abusive tax shelter. So with that, let's go on now to the victory letter. This is a letter from the IRS. You see on the top left in San Diego. On the top right, you see July 11, 2016. There's a Roma Patel, is the agent who's writing to me. And here's what Ms. Patel tells me. Mr. Motahedeh, we are discontinuing our investigation into whether you are liable for a penalty under Internal Revenue Code, so and so and so and so. A bunch of these sections, right? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different sections of penalties, right? So how did that happen? How was it that this whole thing gets started? Well, let's get to see the whole thing from the get going. Now, I wrote an article about this called Freedom Law School Beats the IRS. And their attempt to shut down Freedom Law School as an abusive tax shelter without even going to court. That's right. And IRS apologized for the form that are not being properly written. To give you a background, IRS, here's what happened. Joseph Bannister, former gun-carrying IRS special agent, became a Freedom Law School student back in 1997. He wrote a book about income tax deception, and in 1999 gave that to a superior to give it to the Commissioner of the IRS, okay, Charles Rosati, to refute that. Look, I'm finding IRS is doing a lot of wrong things, breaking people's rights and imposing income tax on American people that they don't seem to owe. Please show me where I'm wrong. Otherwise, I can't stay here because I took an oath to uphold and defend the U.S. Constitution, which I take very seriously, and I can live with that oath, and at the same time violate the American people's rights. IRS ignored him and told him you can leave if you want to, so he left. And then Freedom Law School put him out there for the whole world to meet. And a group called the We the People Foundation, led by Bob Schultz, picked the ball and put him out there to D.C., traveled many times from California to D.C. to debate the IRS and Congress and Department of Injustice lawyers about the income tax law legality. And a lot of groups started going at that time, and email was at that time going big. Fax was on its way out, and email was its way in. So Willie Bill Foundation had over 120,000 people on the email list, and all kind of freedom groups, tax truth freedom groups, were coming on internet telling the world, hey man, you don't have to file and pay federal income taxes. So IRS got really shook up. So they started attacking groups as abusive tax shelter promoter to summarily, quickly close them up. Rather than trying to put the head of the organization in prison, which is very lengthy, very expensive. You have to convince 12 jurors, 12 regular Americans, that guy is guilty beyond the reasonable doubt of a tax crime. All you have to do is to take him before a government-paid, government-biased judge. Say, Judge, this guy, by telling people not to file income tax and whatever else he adds to it, he's actually promoting a tax shelter. And you have the power, Judge, to shut him down. Stop doing what you do. Stop your tax shelter. Put on the website of this guy or your order that he has to shut down. Okay, everybody will see that. And for every customer that he has, we can penalize him. I think it's 500 or 5,000. I forgot. I think 5,000 per customer. And the IRS would assume that everybody on your email list or on your database must be a customer, right? So they don't care about the money part. They care about just want to shut the guy down because one judge, government biased, it's much easier to convince than 12 regular citizens. And it's not beyond the reasonable doubt level of proof that the jurors have to be proven. But the judge is whose side is heavier. And the judge always sees the government side heavier. The government wins, you lose. The IRS shut down literally dozens and dozens of organizations this way. Some of the more famous ones were the Savior Patriots Fellowship, NITE, N-I-T-E, and they got some limited restraining on people, like Dave Chapman got a limited thing order against them. Free Enterprise Society got a limited injunction or stop against them. Okay, so Freedom Law School always has been about what? Teaching my fellow Americans the law. This immigrant from Iran came from a tyrannical country, the land of the free, home of the brave. And I find that, wait a minute, it's not free as advertised. So I start exercising my First Amendment rights of freedom of speech, associate, assemble, publish, share with fellow Americans like you to clean up our government. That's petition the government to clean them up. That's all First Amendment activity. And so they said, well, let's finally get to Peymon. And that's when this whole thing started in 2003. After they closed on everybody else, they said, well, Freedom Law School is still out there. Can we get him? Come on. We got to get rid of this guy. He's a fly in our ointment, hair up our nose. So here's what they did. You see now, this cover letter that I wrote about it, you can read about it in a summary form. But rather than reading the summary, I'm going to go to some of the letters themselves. Everything in this article is hyperlinked to the letter. So I suggest on your own, you read the summary here first. And then, whatever you're interested to see more proof about, click on hyperlink, which is either the IRS letters to me or my responses to IRS letters. Okay? So with that understanding, you're going to be doing your own homework on this thing. I'm going to jump to those letters. Okay? Here's the first one. April 2003, IRS writes me a letter. Okay? Dated May 15, 2003. And they say, Mr. Mutahidi, we have reviewed certain materials with respect to your tax shelter, including but not limited to Freedom Law School and related promotions. Oh, you're already assuming I'm a tax shelter. How do you like that? Kind of a conclusive nonsense. Okay? And then list all the penalty provisions that they could come after me with, right? Bunch of them. And these sections relate to promoting abusive tax shelters. So that's me, right? And they want to do this. They want to meet with me in the last paragraph. They want me to bring documents for them to consider, for them to determine whether penalties and or injunctions are appropriate for the IRS to seek against me, right? And they say this Maryland Steeper in Santa Ana, California, is the one that I should contact. The letter was signed by Frank P. Nixon, area director of the big IRS office in Laguna Niguel, Orange County, California. Yeah, that Ziggurat building is one of the biggest IRS buildings in the country. In Orange County, California, is there. He hand signed it. So you know this came from the top. this order to try to get Freedom Law School. Okay, but he assigned it to one of his underlings, Marilyn Steber. So then Marilyn Steber issued a summons, to me, about me, right there, the highlighted areas, okay, about the years 1998 through 2003. And it says the summons, you are hereby summoned and required to appear before Marilyn Steber or her associates, right? See attachments of all the stuff they want from me, right? Oh, a lot of stuff, attachments. And here it is. The IRS officer before whom you are to appear, time and place, is in the Santa Ana, California office. Now, they add all these provisions of the law, the Internal Revenue Code that applies, right? About summons. And then you get some more laws that they were supposed to give me. After laws are supposed to give to me. Here it is. They're having here the following information document request applies to the following. They want me to give them information, give them documentation, okay, about Peymon Multiade, any entity for which Peymon Multiade is a promoter, founder, officer, or partner, and a much, much more, okay, Freedom Law School, and anything and under the sun, like number 7, Freedom Dollars. Never had a Freedom Dollar. What are you talking about? But they just make up stuff, guys. Okay? And then wanted in any formats. Paper copies, floppy disk, hard disk, media disk, zip drive, or any other medium, right? Give them everything to prove my innocence, right? Oh, that's not it. There's more. Okay? This was issued April 16th, right? 2003. Revenue Agent Marilyn Steber. Page 2, there's more. Look at that. There's more stuff they want from me. Think that's not enough? That they want categories of anything I can put together? Oh, look at that. Oh, after this page, there's more. Here's page 3. Again, they want all kind of nonsense. For me to provide proof my innocence. And here's again, page 4 again. Okay, look at this one. Documentation and information related to requests for tax advice, tax arrangements, views on business formation, financial planning, tax planning, and general tax information offered through their promoters. The minutes of all meetings during which any promotion or individual associated with the promotion was discussed. Oh, wow. They want everything, don't they? And I'm supposed to be saying, yes, Massa, I'm scared. I'm afraid. I don't have everything you want. Please take it easy on me. It takes me a long time to get all this stuff together for you. You just give me a few weeks, please. They want my income tax returns too, okay? Payroll tax returns, okay? And they want the 1099 forms that the IRS sent me, that people said about me. Well, don't they have it already themselves? Oh, they're lazy. They don't want to go through the whole system of bureaucracy to get it. They want me to give a 1099 copy that was supposedly issued to me about me that the IRS has a copy. How nice, okay? So here we go. After all this, what would you do, right? After all this information they want from you, what would you do? Okay? What I did is in May I wrote back requests for answers and clarification to Marilyn Steber. Okay? So these people are not gods. They are afraid of you more than you're afraid of them. You can recognize the fact that there's nothing to be afraid of. Just have a conversation with people. Ask questions because they're very assuming of things. So I start asking them a bunch of questions, right? That's why I request for answers and clarification. Okay? And I tell them that I'm writing them to get some answers and clarification about the meaning about that. What's it all about? What is this for, right? Okay? I want you to help me understand how your request for a meeting might relate to my tax responsibilities, right? Okay. Well, and I quote them, the letter that says, we reviewed certain materials with respect to your tax shelter promotions, including but not limited to Freedom Law School and related promotions. And I tell them, I do not have a tax shelter. I don't. So, your letter clearly assumes and concludes that I have a tax shelter that I'm promoting. So, where do you get off with all this stuff? These assumptions, okay? Okay? So, as you see, I've highlighted some of the key stuff, questions to ask. What are we meeting for, the purpose of it, what law, allows you to schedule a meeting like this with me, under what authority. You question your authority. What if I don't come? What if I don't meet with you? Right? So you just ask the questions. I'm not saying I'm going to be uncooperative. No, I'm very cooperative. I'm happy to meet with you, but let's have it be a productive meeting. Are you being clear and more specific about exactly what you want and what it's all about? So basically, that's what happens there, okay? And then I'll discuss the summons, okay? That they jump the gun, that they assume and conclude that I have a tax shelter promotion. I nail them on this repeatedly, that assumption. They made up their mind. They have a tax shelter that I'm promoting. They don't say, we believe you might be promoting a tax shelter. The letter assumes and concludes that I have a tax shelter that I'm promoting. And I point out they're basically jumping the gun and making summary conclusions, okay? Which is obviously, clearly nonsense, okay? So, and there was maybes and might be's in the letter. They leave it kind of vague. Always leave it up to your imagination, okay? But ask them, what type of meeting is this? The purpose of it, okay? Add more questions to ask. Then, I sent another letter on May 29th, okay? This is, okay, about the summons. I addressed it a little bit more, okay, to Maryland Steeper, okay? So basically, again, I asked for more clarification. I say, wait a minute, you want to have a meeting with me? And you summon me. Which one? What's the difference? Why this? Why that? Where are you coming from? These agents are simply just throwing a bunch of stuff against the wall, hoping something sticks. That's what they're doing. They don't know what the heck they're doing. They just try to see, oh, well, let's see what works. We usually scare everybody, and that works. The intimidation plan, right? So I asked him, look, does the June 2, 2003 summons replace the May 15, 2003 meeting? Was the May 15, 2003 meeting a summons too, or was it an audit? Okay? Should I forget about the May 15 meeting and the IRS letter that your area director, Frank, used to send me? Right? See, because the summons date was later after the meeting. What am I supposed to do? You're kind of confusing things. So, after this letter, then I get a letter back, June 25th, 2003, okay, from Maryland Steeper, okay. Now, here, Ms. Steeper takes time. I gotta admit it. Maryland, I gotta give you credit, lady. You actually took the time to add a letter on your own, not the stupid IRS form letters. You actually tried to have an intelligent conversation with me. So I appreciate that about you, Maryland, because that's unusual, folks. IRS agents are very low intelligence, low education. Most of them cannot write a letter to you. They don't. They just intimidate you. But here, she actually wrote a cogent letter. She tried, okay? So You can read it all, of course, for yourself, in more detail. But basically, the most key thing that comes out to is she says, oh, the meeting was requested to provide you, Peymon, an opportunity to demonstrate that you, Peymon, are not promoting an illegal tax shelter. Oh, really? I have an opportunity to prove my innocence? Oh, nice of you. I'm presumed guilty. Now I can, prove my innocence. And the best way, she says, for me to do that, if I'm not promoting illegal tax shelter, is to provide the IRS the information that requests and fully cooperate, give them everything, give up my privacy right completely, like they're my master, like they own me. Okay, and she mentions you have not filed a tax return since 1991. Incorrect. I filed the tax return only for 2 years with my ex-wife back in 1986 and 87. 2 years or 87, 88, I forgot. And that's it. Then back in 1993, I filed a 1040 NR as a non-resident alien, which somebody taught me, okay, and to get my refund of all the withholding. So I don't know where she gets off with this 1991 date, but she's just plain wrong. IRS computers are obviously messed up in more than one ways, okay? And then, next paragraph, she says, I also understand that you're concerned that we have already made a determination that you are a promoter of illegal tax shelters. This is not true. Oh, thank you. Thank you for admitting IRS is wrong, right? We have simply found sufficient information on the internet to indicate that you may be promoting illegal tax shelters. And she underlined the word maybe herself in the letter. Okay. Oh, so now they're admitting their mistakes, and you see the highlighted part, okay, at the end, and they said that, we have reviewed certain, the language they have, and that says that seems, we have reviewed certain materials with respect to your tax shelter promotions, seems conclusive, and that we have already determined you are promoting tax shelters. We will review the standard language contained in Form 1844 to determine whether it should be revised. In other words, you got me, Peymon. Our letter, it was not done right. We have to fix it because it assumes you are an illegal tax shelter promoter to begin with, when we haven't even started to look at anything yet. Right? So here we go. And of course, she says, IRS always tries to be open, honest, and proceeds with integrity. Well, I believe Marilyn Steberg, she probably is trying to. She looked like a decent lady. I mean, she did take the time to actually write me a handwritten, hand-typed letter. So I think she was. But I don't hold the same view about the institution as a whole, of course. Right? So, guess what happened after this? What happened after this? Nothing. For 13 years, I don't hear people. Oh, I know what. One thing did happen. Somebody sent me for a private consultation. At the time, I charged $240 an hour. And this person had no name on the outside envelope. Okay. And inside, I think, I'm not sure if the name inside first name, but no name on the outside, no phone number. And said, I'll call you. Okay. If you want to do a consultation, why don't you give me your name? Right? And inside there's no name on the outside. A little secretive. That's not the norm. Everybody wants me to call something. You don't just send no name and no phone number, right? It says, I'll call you. Then the person calls. And Okay, make an appointment to talk to me later. Let us take your phone number. So in case something comes up, we can call you back to reschedule. And the person says, no, that's okay. That's not necessary. I'll call at the designated time. Oh, really? You don't want me to have your number. Why? Could it be that you're an IRS agent and you cannot give me the number of the IRS office that you're working for? Because if you do give that to us, we'll find out you're an IRS agent. And you're doing an undercover investigation at Peymon. See if you can get it. Oh, that's why you don't want to give your number. That makes sense. Okay, no problem. So the agent, the man calls. I appreciate the contribution of the IRS. IRS, thank you for that $240 in good use, okay, to promote freedom and educate the American people. We appreciate your support. So the guy says, well, hey, man, I heard you say we have to file income tax. Show me. Of course. We're off the bat. Ask that question the way he did. Oh, okay. Very good, Mr. IRS. You want to get a class for me to teach you about the law? I'll be happy to do so. I had him pick up his computer, say, pick up your computer now. I'm going to show you the law. And I had him read the law. Said, look, type this in the computer. You see a law right there? This IRS code section says this, says that. Read it. What does it say? Read tips. Okay. Now, I don't say that. The Internal Revenue Code says that. Okay? Online version of the federal tax laws given in front of you. That's not me saying it. That's the words of Congress. Right? So we went through this thing, for not even a whole hour, maybe in 50 minutes. The guy was done. And all I tell people is don't believe me, anybody else. Follow the law for yourself. Read and follow the law for yourself. Not some IRS agent, lawyer, judge. They all could be wrong. Read the law from some source, right? Guess what? This person never contacted me again. And I never had his number to call him back. Clearly, he was an IRS agent. This was roughly about 2 months before I got this letter from the IRS, July 11, 2016, of defeat. Okay? This man was working obviously under direction or association with this Roma Patel agent. And Roma Patel write me a letter saying that we, Mr. Motahedi, we are discontinuing our investigation into whether you are liable for a penalty under Internal Revenue Code sections, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Now, here's what they add. How do I like this language? This letter should not be construed to mean that the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, approves of your conduct. Rather, it is simply a notice that our investigation has been discontinued at this time. Oh, thank you very much. I'm nice of you. You're telling me that you're not giving up on checking for your law school, investigating for your law school other ways? Oh, I gotcha. No problem. You can continue looking. You don't approve of what I do? That's okay, IRS. I don't need your approval. Yes. Yeah, I don't need your approval to what I do. Okay? Are you the employees? You guys work for me. I don't need no approval from any of my servants, public servants. You need approval from we the people. That's the way it should be, which is why I pointed out their error in their letter. So, here we are, 2024. 8 more years has gone past then. Still, IRS has not come after me for the law school as abusive or illegal abusive tax shelter motion because we're not. What are we doing? Exposing the crooks and the criminals who've taken over the U.S. government, the deep state, okay? That no longer the federal government represents you, the American people. No longer stands for we the people, okay? So that is the problem. We need to fight, fight, fight. Just like Donald Trump said after he was shot. He stood up, okay, pumped his fist, okay? And you want to have the same attitude, my friend, like Trump and America's founding fathers. Develop that attitude of freedom, okay? That's what the Statue of Liberty stands for. That's what Mel Gibson in Patriot was doing, taking his red coat down as he does in the movie Patriot momentarily. It is up to us, we the people, to take back America.